Mrs. He's not a murderer. These systems are so poor, they're so inadequate and so primitive that it's very hard to find sanity in the world today. You know, there are many things people do. They buy refrigerators, cooking utensils, because it's efficient to sell each home an oven, a refrigerator, but that's not really what people want. Millions of people making bacon and eggs every morning. You want a machine to watch the best cooks in the world make bacon, whatever it is, and then program it so that you're free to go to any dining area and eat any kind of food you want, anytime you want. It's open all the time. There are sailboats, yachts for your use. You can go out with a group of 10 people that you want to go out with on a 2-month cruise. You would come back, the boats, well, people say, well, who's going to service the boats? Who's going to do the dirty work? Titanium, you know, the metal called titanium, rust 1,000th of an inch in salt water in 1,000 years. So all boats will be clad, thin-coated titanium to minimize service. Now all axles need lubrication, all the ball bearings, but if you use magnets facing the inside and the shaft floating in there, it'll never wear out. Do you understand? Magnetic repulsion, like maglev trains. No lubrication, no oil, no fossil fuel. There's more than enough energy today. Geothermal is the natural heat of the earth. The geothermal experts tell me that there's really enough energy in the earth alone for thousands and thousands of years. They tell us if we harness the waves, there's enough energy there for thousands of years. If we harness photovoltaics, there's enough energy there. Wind, rain, tides. There's thousands of sources of energy that are non-polluting. But if you own an oil company, you're not too interested in that. You understand? Okay.
As long as there's scarcity, you get elitism. If there are scarce resources that aren't enough to go around, then you're going to have the problems that you're afraid of. And that's what this system does today. It promotes that. If we eliminate scarcity, which is what this system is about, then there's no need for anybody to hoard or take control over anything. There'd be interdisciplinary teams of people who are knowledgeable in that area. You don't want to go to a baker to have a bridge built. You would go to those who understand how to do that. And first, nobody makes the decisions. You take a survey of the earth, where the resources are, where the needs are that people have, how many heart disease, how much cystic fibrosis. That determines where hospitals are built, where the arable land is. So that determines, and what the needs are of the people. So if there is any dictatorial, anything that arises, then this system is not what we're talking about. It won't work. And what we're looking for are the problems with this system and how to surpass that. What are the problems? What creates elitism? What creates corruption? And how you surpass that. This is what the Venus Project is about. We look at the source of the problems.
Don't we have it in our genes, like animals, like people?
No, we don't. They tell you that.
Faster,
Don't we have it in
stronger,
our genes? There is no such thing as human nature. There's human behavior, and that's always been changed. Otherwise, you'd still be living in caves. Women wouldn't be voting.
Yes, people
Blacks would be
develop,
slaves.
but since animals, we always had some kind of structure, and there was always something that made someone better and someone.
We're talking about genetics now. Are some people lazy, more other people artistic, creative? What do you do with the structure of the body if people are naturally greedy? Now, I met a group of psychologists and they said to me that your system is okay, but if it gets one thing, human nature. They said that people are naturally jealous. That's part of human nature. So I said, give me an example of natural jealousy. The psychologist said, when I reach for my cat to put it on my lap, the dog growled, because he's jealous. So I did this. I fed the dog fresh liver, then I picked up the cat. I did that about 10, 15 times So every time I reached for the cat, the dog's tail would wag. If it was inborn jealousy, that tail would not wag. You see, I'm trying to disprove that it's human nature. This is the way it is. There is no such thing.
You know, you think it's human nature because parents today don't know how to raise kids. You have to go to school for years and years to work on a jet engine, but kids have much more connections in their head than a jet engine, and nobody goes to school or learns anything about raising kids. You know, for an example, when you have 2 kids and you favor one and say, why can't you be like your little sister? She picks up all her things and she does all her homework. And when that little sister falls down the stairs, there's a grin on that little boy's face. So you create jealousy, anger, you know, and all that aberrant behavior, and they don't even know it. So people who raise kids would understand what are the mechanisms that make people behave the way they do. And we know that today, but we don't use that today. If we did, we'd be looking at what are the factors in society that make people behave in an aberrant way.
I want to say this about human behavior. My little boy, when he was 4 years old, came to me and he said, Daddy, the wheel came off my toy car. So I said, so it did, and I threw it in the garbage. I went back to my newspaper, but I'm looking at him with one eye, that lower lip, and he starts crying. He said, you throw it away. I said, I'll get you baby toys where the wheels don't come off. He said, well, maybe I can fix it. So I reached for it and gave it to him, and he's working on it. Once he gets it together, I said, how did you do that? He says, I'm not that little. And I put him on my lap and tell him how wonderful that is. But if you say, here, let Daddy fix it for you, let Mommy fix that, you produce a blob of a nothing up here. So what I do is create the conditions to make them what you call creative and smart. I never taught my kids how to read. So I used to read to them at night in bed. And when they got to the most interesting part of the book, I closed it. The kids said, well, tell me what happened then. I said, look, if you learn to read, you can go right on and find out what it is. Don't teach them to read. Give them a need to want to read. Do you understand? Don't teach them mathematics. 10 and 10 is 20. 20 what? If a man comes up and he says, I have 6 kids. I say, what are they for? Well, just having 6 kids doesn't mean anything. People today are all aberrated due to society. Now, it's easy to get bad at me and put me in jail. It's easier to do that than change society. As one senator said, Jacque, if you influence too many people too fast, the government might pick you up. I said, how do they do that? All we do is put drugs in your car, and your friends will say, you know, there was something strange about Jacque anyway. So you can't fight that. I can't fight the media. It's big and powerful. I can only appeal to what you call reason. I can only appeal to that. But I don't even believe in reason if you don't have the background. For example, I brought a Japanese kid home one day, and my mother says, I don't want that kind around. So somebody said to me beforehand, do you love your mother? I said, in what area? She was a racist and a bigot. I did not love her in that area. Nor is there such a thing as love, which scares the hell out of people. Let me tell you what there is. I don't think anybody here likes everything you've ever done in life. Some things you don't like, some things you're ashamed of. So sometimes you like yourself, sometimes you don't, sometimes you hate yourself, sometimes you love yourself. So love is a fluctuating thing. If you fall in love and marry some guy, you will love some things about him, some things don't love, and how do I ever get into this situation? Love is a fluctuation, not fixed. As long as you teach people about that, you don't love everything about yourself. Consider it. If you live with a replica of yourself, how long would you be together? You wouldn't last very long. So sometimes you like yourself, sometimes you don't. Let's be honest about all these things. Now people say they believe in honesty. And they can say, Mommy, where do babies come from? The stork brings them. And Santa Claus brings the kids all the time. You lie to these kids and then you expect them to grow up as decent human beings? You talk to kids, they want to know. You give kids an artificial story, Jack and the Beanstalk, Cinderella, Kids can learn geology, chemistry, structural engineering,